Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about the Daily Chess Championship 2025 Round 1. I competed in it. Now, if you've never played Daily Chess before, this is when they give you a minimum of 24 hours to make a move. So it's meant to be highly accurate. You're meant to be able to do lots of analysis, not with a computer. But you have to make your moves in 24 hours. So you've got to log into chess.com every day to make your moves. And as a result, people don't do that. They forget. So there's a high rate of timeouts. And obviously, we get put into a group of about 10 players. So I played 22 games. So there were 12 of us in the group. The person who finishes top qualifies to the second round. And I'm going to be making a recap. I've played this now. This is my third year playing this event. The previous 2 years, I finished second in the group. So maybe this year, I will finish top and move on to round 2. But that's enough of an introduction. Let's get into some of the games. So here was the first game. I've got the black pieces. I'm playing an opponent, and I'm going to press the forward arrow. No moves were made. I won this game on time. So, one for me. Next game. I've got black, e4, e6. I was playing a French. No more moves. I won on time. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I won these 2 games on time. Next game, e4 by me. No other moves, I won on time. This is going to be a theme. Fourth game, e4, e5, knight f3. I won on time. So, we're 4-0 in the first 4 games. All of them won on time with a maximum of 3 moves being played. Game 5, though. Here we go. Now we start to see some moves being played. I've got black. d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight to c3, bishop b4, Nimsa Indian defense. Knight comes out, I play g6, they kick out my bishop, I trade, and I bring the bishop here. And the Nimsa Indian, you're always trying to control e4. It is a key square, that's why you develop the way you do. I see I plot my knight in the center, queen c2, f5. The bishop comes out, short castles. I play d6. The idea is to then route the knight to f6 to support the central knight. And, just support that knight and everything it does. And I won the game on time. 10 moves at least this one. So, 5 games down. Still a lot more to go. We've got to get through 20 games. So be thankful that some of these games, don't require too much analysis. I played e4. We had c5. And I opted for an open Sicilian. And this was going to be a dragon Sicilian. And I went for this Marozzi bind setup. I haven't really played much of this before, so I wanted to play it c4. And because they haven't played knight to f6 targeting the pawn, I can play c4 and go for Marozzi bind. So the bishop attacks my knight. I defend it, and we develop some pieces. And then I plant my knight, move it out to the side, and I'm like, well, I'm going to start targeting stuff. So the queen moves over, I develop my bishop, they kick out my knight, I just plonk it back in the center. They target the pawn on e4. Remember, this knight is not actually defending it anymore, so I played f3 and won the game on time. Game 7. This one was the highest rated person in the group. Here I've got black, and this game actually had a conclusion, so I'm going to flip over the board, and this is a game that was actually played. So e4, and I played c6, and I went for a Caro-Kann. We had the advanced. I played the short variation, so we developed our pieces. I played c5, which is what you're meant to do. Bishop e3 is an interesting move, so I played queen b6. And then here I made the inexplicable decision to take on b2. Still fine for the computer, but I didn't need to do this. I didn't need to do that. I could have just ignored the pawn. They defend the knight. I played the critical move here, c4, to avoid my queen getting trapped. The knight goes there, and I move my queen. I surrender the fork, but I'm going to trap the knight. This knight looks to go here and trap my rook and, just take a pawn. So I defend it. The bishop comes in. I kick out the bishop. Bishop back to d1, which is a move. I can grab this pawn, the rook infiltrates, I attack it, and I thought, maybe we can repeat moves. No, and the worst thing is the advantage is just swelling. Even this rook sacrifice, brilliant move, but the only move, according to the engine. Otherwise, it's a level. The only move to keep advantage for white. now they look to build and trap my light squared bishop. Like, they're gonna trap my light squared bishop. So I bring the queen back, they defend it, and then just build on the queen side. Now it's no good because they trap my bishop. I just leave it there to be taken. I attack the knight, I grab the knight, and I grab like this, and it's not good. I'm only down a point of material because I've got a piece for 2 pawns. I've got 2 pawns for the piece, and these pawns are okay-ish. I can't get to the white king though. I can swing the rook around and try and push these pawns, but that's just going to weaken my king. So the queen's now infiltrating. I grab a pawn in the center, which was a deadly mistake, because check, and here I'm just going to get hunted. They kick my knight back, they give me checks, and I just get mated. I try my best with my queen to infiltrate, but they find a really lovely mating pattern here, and unfortunately I lose this game. Unfortunately, I go down. But I'm not out yet. I could still win the game with white and at least, tie this man if he wins all his games. So we move on to this game. We have d4. I'm again black, knight f6. But here we get, I don't know what this is. This I can understand. You can play c4, queen's gambit. You can play like a g6 setup. You can play a collie. You can play a London. You do not play knight to c3. Knight to c3 is not a good move. I develop my bishop. And I basically play this in reverse London. I take... offer another exchange, grab the pawn in the center, and we get here. I'm up a pawn. Just up a pawn. I break the pin. I offer a queen trade. They say no to the queen trade, but I just take the queen anyway. Grab this, and then plant my knight in the center. And I have to win this endgame. I'm up a pawn, but I decided to trade all the pieces. I'm going through this quickly because there's 22 games to go through, but I have to win this endgame. And I grab a couple more pawns, and I go up a rook, a piece, because they went here, and I don't know why. Because I just take the rook. When they take back, I go here. I just lost a piece. I don't understand it. And I believe, let me check the details of this game. I won on time. Chalk another one down on the counter for Matthew, who's editing this. Okay, game with white. Here we go. What do we do? e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. An Italian, that's what I went for. d6, it's an interesting move. I was like, okay, d4, bishop e6. It's nice to get free pieces in the opening. So they go here, I take, and, this game, I went up a piece early, and it was just about converting, not allowing too much counterplay. Lovely move there, you couldn't take the bishop because of the fact you lose. Now you can take because you hit my queen. So I take back, the queen comes out, and just this game was to make sure I don't lose. And in fact, I found mate in 5. Here it's mate in 2. Can you find mate in 2? What you find is queen takes e8. Which is a beautiful move. Rook takes e8, and then rook d6. Mate. Lovely way to find mate in 5. So went up a piece, evacuated the king from his home all the way over there, and mated him in the center of the board by sacking my queen. But yes, this was won on time, not by resignation, so chalk another one to the counter. Game 10. I've got the black pieces again. This was a French defense, but a weird French. We traded the lights with bishops, which you're not supposed to do. I took in the center, I brought out the knight, and I won on time. Guys, winning on time, it happens a lot in these events. Okay, here's another game. We had a Caro-Kann, advanced. I hate this variation, but I played, proper opening theory. We got all the way here, but I'm better. You shouldn't have traded the bishop. I'm just up a pawn. I defend the pawn that I'm up. I castle, and I win on time. Game 12. We're almost there, halfway. e4, c6. So, Caro-Kann, I played the classical variation, and we got all the way here. We traded a bunch of pieces. I played queen c7 and won on time. Now you're probably thinking, Matthew, you only did so well because you played on time. But I kept logging in every day. I did what I was supposed to do, and we were, some of these games, you see, they get going to a degree. Here's an Italian, a mainline gioco piano, where they attacked me very quickly on the king side, and I decided to sacrifice the knight to get the pin, which was not a good idea. I'm much worse. Like, no gags, I'm much worse, but I went on time. played knight to a3. My idea was like I was going to go here and get into the center. I thought, well, this pin looks, threatening. It's not really. I do have threats, but nothing really works. But I win this game on time. Okay, I'm Lukey again. Remember, I have to win this game. And spoilers, this one does not end on time. So I played e4, and he played a Sicilian. And we went into an open Sicilian. And I believe this is a knight off. I might be mistaken. But he kicked out my knight, and we got all the way here. I developed pieces, played f4, brought the queen out, and I just knew I had to attack. But I should not have allowed him to push the pawn. This is the one bit of analysis. I should have just taken this. I didn't like taking it. I didn't like taking it because I thought, well, takes. I would have to take again, and then, he's taking here, and there's like discoveries and my bishop, and I didn't like it, but it's perfectly level. Letting him play d5 now makes it better, and we get this tactical sequence where I can win this, and the rook can come in, and we can get here. I'm just down the exchange. I'm down the exchange, so I've got to play this down the exchange. But unfortunately, trading pieces does not help, and a rook will always beat a knight. I defend for as long as I can. I really tried to defend this for as long as I can. I hoped every day he would time out. But unfortunately here, I just forgot my knight was hanging. So I hung the knight. Now I'm just down a rook, and this game just went on and on and on. Every day hoping he would time out. He doesn't. In fact, we trade to a king and pawn endgame where he's just up 2 pawns. Like, he sacrificed the rooks effectively, but he went on, made a queen, and would checkmate me eventually. So I would not finish top, but we'll go through the rest of the games just, to be fair to my opponents. This was a exchange French where my opponent played g4 and just lost all of their pieces. Like, I won all the pieces, and eventually I was able to mate the king in some moves. This game does not end in timeout. I just mate the king in 32 moves. Pretty standard stuff. If you search my profile, I'm sure you can find the games. Anyway, here we go. Another Caro-Kann. Same line as the previous one, but they hung upon the center of the board. So this was very fascinating because I've never seen this before. And I took it with the g-pawn to create dynamics. I played here and I won on time. Game 17, almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. I know it's been a long video, and I know this has been very boring, but you want to see where I finish. You want to see some of these games. Here it was a win-hour French, I think I played. Yeah, I played the French defense. It was a win-hour. Gave up the center pawn, and just played, to be solid. Traded off their light squared bishop. Played g6 and won on time. Okay, here we go, against Black Hawk. e4, c6. And this game was a game because, I thought, I'm going to, I played the tile variation of the Caro-Kann. I thought, yeah, I'm chilled. Along castles, everything's going to be fine. I'm going to win this game, no problems. But then problems started arising. They started creating some serious dynamics. You might say, can't you take this bishop? I probably should have. But, he gets the exchange. I probably should have gone for this. I probably should have, but I didn't. But, he just infiltrates and smooshes all my pieces, and I hangmate. I hangmate! Like, here I can just play this, and I'm worse, no doubt about it, but I hungmate. I played knight ge1, and hungmate on b2. Basically, I didn't win a game if it wasn't on time. Okay, game 19, just 3 games left. So, can I win all of them, and at least finish second? Because that's where I finished all these other events, e4. So this was a Petrov, but this is not how you're supposed to play the Petrov. We exchanged knights, and our queens just stare at each other for a very long time, to the point I castled, and the queens just stayed staring at each other. Eventually, they got traded. But here I was just in a better position, in a better endgame, where I could march them down on the king side and create dynamics. I had a discover check, and here I just mate them. So grab this, give a check, and we just... look to win everything. We win all the pawns. We make sure we don't hang back rank mate. And we just trade into this winning endgame where I can get a queen. And I can grab this and push the pawn to get a rook. And one move before mate, my opponent resigns. Not win on time. So note that down. Wasn't a win on time. My opponent resigned. 3 games left. It's winning. Again, So this is a game with black. I played a French. I was alternating between the French and the Caracan. It was like an exchange French with a weird structure and the knight on c3. And we went all the way here. Obviously, you can't take. I kicked out the bishop. I thought, okay. And my opponent hung the queen. My whole idea when playing this was that this discovery would attack the queen, and he took the pawn, lost the queen, and I grabbed this, traded the bishops. And from here, it was just about trading the material down and converting, and that is pretty much what I did. In fact, I mated them on move 30, rook h1. Beautiful game. 2 games left. The Black Hawk, again, must win this to at least tie the score between him. And he played a London. I don't know why the board is glitching slightly. And it was just a London. I attacked the bishop, I grabbed it, we traded some pawns in the center. I brought my knight back. Black is better, but finding the advantage is not easy. I start making some weakenings for my king. I, pin some pieces and stuff. I grab this, kick out the knight, and a beautiful knight sacrifice. Beautiful. You might say, what knight sacrifice? Because when you take this, and then you win the rook. But I didn't see that it was still protected. This is still level. I've got 2 pieces for the knight, for the rook, and the queen's still on the board. And this all happened. But the queen grabs here, and I just need to defend my king. But, you've got to be so accurate. So we trade queens, and this is probably better for white. Like, the rook is such a good endgame piece. Like, I reroute my bishop. Is this going to be a win? Check. Can I force something? Can I create something? The knight dancing around, and he sacrifices. I should not have played the knight here, because he can sack the rook. The bishop was protecting the knight, so I take the rook, and this is just a losing king and pawn endgame, and I resigned. I didn't want to time out, and we reached the final game. The final game, ladies and gentlemen, 22 games is a long time, but you play them simultaneously. e4, c6, it was a Caracan, it was this exact same line that we've seen before that I've played. I traded the bishop for the knight, and we got here, and it was complicated. I grabbed the cool pawn, dropped my knight back, attacked the queen, pressed on the king side, I attacked the bishop, and I really weakened my king doing this. I really weakened my king, but I was lucky enough to grab some stuff, then on the way out, and, didn't hang mate, got the queens off, hung my rook, but, got the rook up there, and here I won on time when I was completely lost. So tell me how you feel about my daily chess championship. I finished 3rd in the group, which is not bad. I finished on 18 points out of the 22, only losing the 4 games, both to I Am Lukey and both to Black Hawk. And I thought it was quite fascinating. I thought it was really fascinating, the games, but let me know what you thought about them and what you think of the Daily Chess Championship, and let me know if you played it.